Well, this past week in professional wrestling has been kind of difficult with the passing of Howard Finkle and all of the WWE wrestlers being released. Um, Last week was certainly a tough one for the world of professional wrestling. But we have a AEW Dynamite episode to review, so let's get into it. This is All Elite Review. What's happening, ladies and germs? This is the Packer Man, and welcome to today's edition of All Elite Review, where we're going to be reviewing the studio show of AEW Dynamite from April the 15th, 2020. I didn't bother putting this up on Saturday because I just wasn't in the mood to do it. So let's go ahead and just breeze right through this. So Jake Roberts with another great video package talking up Lance Archer, who was in the opening match, which was one of the quarterfinal matches for the TNT Championship Tournament against Colt Cabana. Highlights of the match: Archer hit a full Nelson Slam, got a 2 count, a slingshot spinning splash for a 2 count, which is kind of surprising considering his size. Colt hit a head scissors takedown and a fake out splash for a 2 count. Got some offense in, but Archer hits a pounce, a choke slam, and then the blackout for the 3 count and the victory. Pretty decent match. It really showcased how dangerous Lance Archer is. I give this match 2.5 stars out of 5, and so far on my brackets I'm 2 for 2. And this week the other quarterfinal matches will take place on Dynamite, so it'll be interesting to see how those turn out. The next match was a squash match in the women's division. Number 5, Britt Baker basically squashed Cassandra Golden. Basically hit her with a super kick and then hit her with the true curb stomp, as I like to call it, where she put Golden's mouth on the bottom rope and hit a curb stomp, and basically got the 3 count and the victory. You know, it was a squash match. You know, 1.5 stars out of 5 on that one. And then we had a Bubbly Bunch skit with all of the inner circle, which was actually kind of funny. Talking trash about the Elite and all that stuff. The best part was when Chris Jericho poured himself a glass of orange juice, spilled some on the counter, and then the next shot, the orange juice was cleaned up. Like that was fucking funny. The next match was another kind of squash match. Shug D against Sammy Guevara. Obviously, building up Guevara for his quarterfinal match against Darby Allin. Highlights of the match: Shug D was sleeping in the corner when Guevara came out. Guevara hit a flying knee strike after Shug D did like a corkscrew arm drag, which Guevara pretty much no-sold. Guevara with a suplex for a 2 count, his pressing Samoan drop. Shug D hit a small package, only got 2 count though. Guevara with a nice lariat, another running knee strike, and then his inverted GTS for the 3 count and the victory. I give this match 2 stars out of 5. Then he got on the mic and said that he will beat the shit out of Darby Allin, and then starts beating up Shug D, which prompts Darby Allin to come out and make the save. Next match was a pretty good match. Kip Sabian against Chuck Taylor. Obviously, they were going to have Kip win here because he's in the TNT title tournament. Highlights of the match, good mat wrestling by both wrestlers. Taylor had a roll through into a single leg crab. Kip hits a leaping enziguri. Taylor with his rising knee strike and then an X-plex onto the apron. Sabin dodges Taylor's moonsault, hits a missile drop kick for a 2 count. Sabin hits a rolling snapmare into a PK for a 2 count, which looked really good. Taylor hits a nice looking Samoan driver. Taylor hits the pop-up sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. Kip with his hanging suplex only got a 2 count. Taylor with his soul food. And then there was a part of the match where Penelope Ford got up on the apron and gave Kip Sabian a kiss. And then Orange Cassidy got up on the apron and tried to do the same thing. But then Jimmy Havoc attacks Orange Cassidy from behind, which sets up a match between the two this week. Penelope hit a flying Frankensteiner on Chuck Taylor. Then Kip Sabian hit the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling. The schoolboy roll up for the 3 count and the victory. He actually also put his back into it to make it a little bit more unique. But then Sabian and Havoc walked out together with Penelope Ford. So it's looking like we might have a new tag team in Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc. I gave this match 3 stars out of 5. And then the next match was a squash match. Justin Law, jobber to the stars against Sean Spears. Started things out with Spears basically out wrestling Law, and then gets down on all fours and kind of like the wrestling position. And then Law hits an Oklahoma roll for a 2 count, but Spears hits a lariat, and then the C4 running Death Valley driver for the 3 count and the victory. Another squash match. I gave it 1.5 stars out of 5. And then we had the main event, AEW World Title, empty arena, no holds barred match between Jake Hager and Jon Moxley. There were some people that saying that this match wasn't as good as we all thought it would be. I mean, in an empty arena, no holds barred match, you expected a lot more things to be used than just a steel chair, and even that wasn't used very much. But and there were some people, including JD from New York, that was saying that this match was as bad as Edge and Orton's Last Man Standing match, which I think is just fucking stupid talk. I honestly think that he was letting his emotions get the better of him, honestly, because he was pretty upset at what WWE did with releasing all those wrestlers and personnel and shit. So I think because of that, I think he was letting his emotions cloud his judgment a little bit there. But of course, when you try to do a dissenting, just an opposing opinion to him, he acts like a fucking jerkweed. So can't really take anything he says with it really that seriously. Anyways, highlights of this match: there was some MMA style wrestling between the two of them to start things off. Hager with some vicious knee strikes in the corner. Moxley tries to lock in a Kimura and an STF. Both start trading shots. Moxley with a Pescado to the outside. Hager with some hammer blow punches. Both start fighting towards the tarped off seats. Hager with a back body drop onto concrete after he blocked Moxley's attempt at the cradle pile driver. Moxley locks in a figure 4 wrapped around one of them handrails. So he had the figure 4 locked in on that. Hager hits a snake eyes on the railing. He absorbs Mox's lariat, but then Moxley hits a running knee strike. Hager hits his gut wrench powerbomb, only got a 2 count. Hager starts hitting his running lariats in the corner, but then Moxley hits a lariat of his own. Hits the paradigm shift, but then Hager locks in the arm and head triangle, but Moxley was able to escape. Hager uses a steel chair, pushing it into Moxley's ribs. Then he wedges the chair in between the middle and top turnbuckle in the corner and sends Moxley into it. Then he hits Moxley's ankle with the chair and then locks in the ankle lock. So all kinds of submission holds and shit going on here. And then Moxley, in a very unique maneuver here, hits the paradigm shift and transitions it into a guillotine choke. Another MMA move. Hager hits his running low blow, which Moxley kind of no-sold, although I kind of get the feeling that he might have been wearing a cup this time, so that probably could have been mentioned as well. Then Moxley takes the chair and launches it at Hager, and then sets the chair down and hits hits one more paradigm shift onto the chair this time, and gets the 3 count and the victory. Jake Hager has finally been defeated, although it took a hellacious match in this case to do it. Jon Moxley remains undefeated in singles competition, both in his career and in this year. His only losses have been in tag team competition, so there's that. But this was actually a pretty good match for what it was worth. No 5-star classic for sure, but I don't think we're going to be seeing those anytime soon. Unfortunately with these arena matches, or these studio show matches and shit like that. But this was still a pretty good match in my opinion. I thought it was pretty solid considering the circumstances, so I gave it 4 stars out of 5. We got 6 matches on this show, which is pretty amazing. My overall show rating, I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. It was alright. Wasn't anything special, but it wasn't, total garbage either. JD from New York says that it was the worst episode of Dynamite so far in its tenure, but I can't agree with that. Did you see that final episode of 2019? That wasn't exactly good. Or the one in Chicago, that disjointed show. There's a lot more candidates for worst Dynamite of the year than this one. So, that's just my opinion. But that's going to do it. A little bit of a short review this time around. But that's the way it's going to be until we get back to live shows, because, not really much to go through. I think a lot of the attention has been on the WWE and how they've been releasing talent and personnel. Although there are rumors that they're just furloughing a couple of those people. And then, of course, the passing of Howard Finkle, probably the greatest, ring announcer in wrestling history. It's just been a shit-tastic week for wrestling all around the previous week. So, yeah, not much energy to go around right now. But that'll do it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Here are my updated rankings. And until next time, this is the Packerman signing out. Bye. You better like and subscribe or face the consequences. You have been warned.